This video is brought to you by I just want to say I'm honored to have been approached by Sega to provide my honest thoughts about the new Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble on Nintendo Switch that came out a few days ago. I am a huge Sega fan. Even my last dedicated game video largely became an excuse to rave about the influence of Sega's Jet Set Radio. So when Sega came to me with a game that actually has Jet Set Radio in it, there's no way I wasn't all over this. The fact it has anything Jet Set Radio means I probably would have instantly bought it anyway, just as I bought all the Sega Superstar games for the same reason. And just to prove my point, here's my Jet Set Radio shrine. But before I get carried away, we're here for Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, not Jet Set Radio, especially considering the Jet Set content won't be here until October as separate DLC. Banana Rumble is out now on Switch, and Sega let me have it early so I could complete the game close to release. Also, it seemed like there was some confusion over my last review, and I want to clarify I do turn down sponsors pretty regularly, and I only do one if it's something I really like and actually want to do, not because I have to do it. With the agreement, I can do the video however I want, which is why I decided to dress up as a monkey for this video. And Super Monkey Ball is something I definitely have a connection with and would love to talk about. Granted, I haven't sat down with one in about 20 years. In fact, I don't think you could sit down with the first one I played. I was a big fan of the original Monkey Ball arcade cabinet, which they had at the Buffalo Wild Wings my dad always took me and my brother to in the early 2000s. This was also the first place I played Crazy Taxi. And with these two titles, I fell in love with Sega arcade games. It seemed like Sega could come up with any idea at the time and wrap it in their arcade style, and it worked. Whether it was Samba de Amigo, 18-wheeler American Pro Trucker, Jet Grind Radio, or even Typing the Dead or Space Channel 5. Monkey Ball didn't take much to win me and my brother over. With its banana controller and simple gameplay of tilting the course around to get the monkey to roll into the goal, and being an erratic physics game with the ball sliding in every direction, it definitely was a dangerous quarter eater. Though, we probably mostly loved it for the banana controller. Though I do remember also being captivated by the visuals. 20-something years later, Banana Rumble stays authentic to the original Monkey Ball, which is nice to see considering my high expectations for the upcoming Jet Set Radio reboot. Obviously, with the lack of a banana controller, the novelty maybe isn't as strong as when I was a kid, but Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble still introduces a few ideas without rolling away from what made it a classic in the first place. One thing that was new for me was the inclusion of a story, which I guess they actually introduced that in Super Monkey Ball 2, but again, I haven't really played Monkey Ball much outside the first arcade and GameCube release. In this story, the characters are chilling on their monkey butts until this lady monkey comes and randomly steals a banana, and you have to chase her for it back, maybe about 100 feet. In this time, they introduced the game's new spin dash mechanic, allowing you to hold B at any time in any direction and quickly release for a quick cannon shot forward, which is a simple addition that integrates so well it feels like it was there from the beginning. Once you catch up to the monkey, she apologizes and says she only stole the banana to get your attention, as apparently her father is missing and needs your help finding him. Which, in my opinion, stealing something for attention is probably the worst way she could have asked for help from random strangers. But sure enough, the cast of primates instantly accept her request without a second thought. I guess because they had literally nothing better to do. The only thing I don't get from this premise and the quest to find her father is that you're then immediately suspended several hundred feet in the air on these inexplicably levitating courses. Why does this happen? Why is this the way they go about their journey? Why are they trapped in balls and taking the most death-defying course possible in order to find her father? Who even built these courses, and how did the monkeys get here? I didn't notice any of this ever being explained, which renders the story as rather secondary and extremely mysterious. Although honestly, mostly secondary. The game doesn't spend too much time showing you the ropes, as we all know what to do, which is roll that monkey into the goal. The game's basically that, as you tilt your ball around ever so slightly and precisely course after course, guiding your selected little guy, each with different stats, smoothly and satisfyingly into the goal over and over. Maybe because I played the crap out of Marble Blast Gold that was included on my family Mac in the early 2000s, which is basically the only Mac game I could play. For the first few hours, the whole thing felt so casual to the point that flying through these courses felt like a tranquil experience. And I was content with the idea it could be like that the entire way. But honestly, I couldn't have been more wrong. This game gradually increases the challenge to the point tranquil becomes the last word I would use when it comes to Banana Rumble. At times, the game is an intense test of patience as it pushes you to make every second count, forcing you to complete the simpler parts of the course as quickly as possible so you have enough time to complete the parts that require just a bit more precision. The spin dash adds a healthy dynamic to the mix, although I was surprised it's not utilized much in the course designs and works more to find shortcuts and strategies, which can be satisfying as you hit a corner of a surface with just the right amount of boost to fling yourself over half or even the entirety of a course so you can whoosh yourself right through the finish line. Nice. The later levels do utilize the spin dash more and make for the game's most exciting moments. As the levels progress, the design becomes more innovative, as it focuses on more environmental puzzles rather than always making it a treacherous race to the finish. I love this level and its use of the spiraling moving platforms that forces you to stay on top of which platform to move to by keeping focus on the pattern of the spiral on your map display. It's classic monkey ball that doesn't deviate from the simple formula, which even after all these years does feel deeply satisfying for me, sliding your way through each course and barely managing to reach the finish line without falling to your death from above. I was surprised when I hit 100 levels and the game was over. Again, never explaining why we did any of what we did during the gameplay, but it was a fun adventure all the way through. However, the surprise was gone when I realized I unlocked another 100 levels, which were much harder and more creative courses in the 5 worlds that I played through, which included a Candyland and a Royal Castle. These levels are maybe where I rather the game began, as these courses up the challenge in even more unexpected ways than the base game. I'm still addictively making my way through those extra levels, but even without them, it's not as though the game skimps on extra content. I would say the multiplayer modes are where the most replay value lies, which I enjoyed along with Mrs. Odd, and also has a progression system that allows you to collect accessories and characters. The battle modes in particular seem to offer the most change up to the monkey ball formula. One mode has you compete to destroy the most robots, which challenges you to find as many ways as possible to project yourself and hit these robots in their weak spots until they explode. Not that they're doing anything to deserve it. There's modes that are essentially downhill skee ball, collect the most bananas, and toss the ticking time bomb, each with their own levels, all of which me and Mrs. Odd had a ton of fun playing. You can include up to 14 players, all bouncing against each other in every direction like a room full of monkeys. My favorite is the racing mode, which I think you can make an entire game out of. It's that good. Sure, it's just monkey ball Mario Kart, but it works really well. It feels like a more elongated straight A to B course with power-ups to knock off the other players, but injected with clever obstacles all the way through, which in my opinion makes for a more intense race than anything in Mario Kart. In addition to battle modes, you can play online in story mode, which unfortunately isn't a separate story mode, but the same single player mode with another player, which I didn't think allowed for a lot of cooperative opportunities, but does give the bonus that if one player falls off, the level still completes for both of you if the other manages to finish. The only thing with Banana Rumble I really wish for is more in the extra modes. Each multiplayer mode only has 2-3 dedicated levels, with the racing mode having more like 4 or 5. I'd love to see a DLC that includes more courses for these modes, especially the racing. Fortunately, like I mentioned, DLC is on the way, like the Jet Set Radio DLC around October, and you know I'm not sleeping on that. Until then, I'll be playing through the rest of these bonus 100 levels as patiently as I can until that DLC, and I'm definitely going to need the patience. It is refreshing to see Sega stuck to what made the original a hit, which is what I'd rather see than them adapt it into something more like a streamlined mobile game. But they also didn't make it into an open world monkey ball with combat or anything radical like Sonic Frontiers. I personally enjoyed Frontiers, but its polarizing reaction is also a reason to do something maybe a little more proven. Although Sonic Superstars wasn't exactly well received either, so I guess the sweet spot lands somewhere in the middle. And Sega's experimenting with their classic properties in a way that makes me hopeful we'll get something that feels right with the new Jet Set Radio, especially considering it's reportedly still a few years out. Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble meets my recommendation as a strong purchase you can't go wrong with, landing somewhere around a 7.9 or an 8 monkey balls out of 10 for me. It could benefit from more content, and it doesn't reinvent the wheel or the ball in any way, but it's an addictive game with pleasant music, visuals, and gameplay that's a strong pick up and play game for your Switch that's sure to drive you bananas while still managing to have a good time. And thanks again to Sega for sponsoring this video and providing me the opportunity to work together. Sega has always been one of my dream sponsors, and I couldn't be happier for the opportunity. Again, these were all my honest opinions, and I thank Sega for giving me the opportunity to provide you with more supplemental content in addition to the regular mysteries and discoveries. If you're a game developer and would like me to check out a game, feel free to contact me, and thank you again for watching this video. It's really your support that makes this content possible, and my only hope at the end of the day is to continue to bring you more content that you'll hopefully love. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Shout out to Angel the Fox, Ash Photography, BitWiff27, Black Evie50, Chad Biscuit, Eddie Talkspin, The Bleach Primid, Flex, Kieran Bolton, The Meatly, Phoenix157, Rackman22, Riley S, Robert Eisenman, Rolkot Mifua, Select, Starcore2, and Terrence Stock for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.